Welcome to the 28th Annual Massachusetts Multicultural Film Festival. I'm Daniel Pope, Director of the 28th Festival, with the help of Nefeli Forney, Assistant Curator, and our team of stellar undergraduate interns in the Film Studies program at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. The theme for the 2021 season is Alliances. Now, a year into the global pandemic, we're all still coping with isolation and longing for connection. And at the same time, the past year has exposed in high relief existing and widening divisions in the world. And so this season's MMFF presents an international program of documentary, narrative, and experimental films and media from the United States, Puerto Rico, Iran, France, Egypt, Brazil, and South Korea that offer compelling visions of connection with people, ecologies, and ideas. We program this season with an eye also to the shadow side of alliances, flawed or failed alliances, or misguided or even malign confederacies. The films this season address themes of community, solidarity, and partnerships for social justice, environmental advocacy, and other endeavors to achieve a common good or confront a prevailing ill. Filmmakers and expert scholars will join us each Wednesday from February 17th through April 7th for live conversations and Q&As with our online audience. Our first event, presented in partnership with New England Public Media in honor of Black Heritage Month and programmed to coincide with the premiere of the new PBS series, The Black Church, This Is Our Story, This Is Our Song, will be a live conversation and Q&A with the filmmakers of The Black Church, Stacey, Holman, and Shayla Harris, moderated by Amilcar Shabazz. Join us on Wednesday, February 17th at 7:30 p.m. for that live event. It is my honor and pleasure now to introduce Amilcar Shabazz, who will provide here an introduction to the PBS series in preparation for his conversation with the filmmakers. Shabazz is a professor in the W.E.B. Du Bois Department of Afro-American Studies at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where he has served as department chair and the university's faculty advisor to the Chancellor for Diversity and Excellence. Professor Shabazz teaches courses with an emphasis on the political economy of social and cultural movements, education, and public policy. He has written and contributed to award-winning books such as Advancing Democracy, African Americans in the Struggle for Access and Equity in Higher Education in Texas, and The 40 Acres Documents. Amilcar Shabazz currently serves as president of the National Council for Black Studies, the premier organization of Africana studies professionals in the world. Amilcar, I want to thank you and welcome you, and thank you again just for your inspiring and dedicated work in conceiving of this event and helping to organize it. So I'll hand it over to you for the introduction.
Thank you very much, Daniel. It's my pleasure to say a few words in preparation for the screening of this most important documentary about this most important subject, the Black Church. The Black Church really relates well to this theme of alliances. It is a space of building the connections, the relationships, the interactions of people in common purpose, or nia, and bound by a common faith, imani. And it's something that I personally have grown out of. Shout out to our Mother of Mercy in Beaumont, Texas. And it's something that has been an important force in the world. Let me, in fact, bring here the words of our great son of Massachusetts, the scholar William Edgar Burghardt Du Bois. This is from his Souls of Black Folk. He says, "To be really true, all these ideals must be melted and welded into one. The training of the schools we need today more than ever, the training of deft hands, quick eyes and ears, and above all, broader, deeper, higher culture of gifted minds and pure hearts. The power of the ballot we need in sheer self-defense, else what shall save us from a second slavery? Freedom, too, the long sought, we still seek, the freedom of life in limb, the freedom to work and think, the freedom to love and aspire, work, culture, liberty, all these we need, not singly, but together, not successively, but together, each growing and aiding each other, and all striving toward that vaster ideal that swims before the Negro people, the ideal of human brotherhood, gained through the unifying ideal of race, the ideal of fostering and developing the traits and talents of the Negro, not in opposition or contempt for other races, but rather in large conformity to the greater ideals of the American Republic, in order that someday on American soil, two world races may give each to the other those characteristics both so sadly lack. We, the darker ones, come even now all together, not empty-handed. There are today no truer exponents of the pure human spirit of the Declaration of Independence than the American Negroes. There is no true American music but the wild, sweet melodies of the Negro slave. The American fairy tales and folklore are Indian and African, and all in all, we Black men seem the sole oasis of simple faith and reverence in a dusty desert of dollars and smartness. Will America be poor if she replace her brutal, dyspeptic blundering with light-hearted but determined Negro humility? Or her coarse and cruel wit with loving, jovial good humor? Or her vulgar music with the soul of the sorrow songs? Merely a concrete test of the underlying principles of the great republic is the Negro problem. And the spiritual striving of the freedmen's sons is the travail of souls whose burden is almost beyond the measure of their strength, but who bear it in the name of an historic race, in the name of this land of their fathers' fathers, and in the name of human opportunity. And now, what I have briefly sketched in large outline, let me on the coming pages tell again, in many ways with loving emphasis and deeper detail, that all may listen to the striving in the souls of Black folk. That was in 1903, over 100 years ago, that Dr. Du Bois set forth this ideal of the spiritual strivings that come to find a very important space in the Black church. And so this documentary helps us to interrogate this great historic space. And our discussion with the producer directors, telling our story, singing our song, preserving and protecting our sacred spaces in dangerous times, invites us to really interrogate the important work that Stacey Holman and Shayla Harris has engaged here in this important documentary. It's a 4-hour, 2-part series from the executive producer, my colleague in Africana Studies, the Alphonse Fletcher University professor at Harvard University and director of the Hutchins Center for African and African American Research, Dr. Henry Louis Gates, that traces the 400-year-old story of the Black church in America, all the way down to its bedrock role as the site of African American survival and grace. Organizing, and resilience, thriving and testifying to the autonomy and freedom, solidarity, and speaking truth to power. The documentary reveals how Black folks have worshiped and improvised ways to bring their faith traditions from Africa to the Americas, while translating them into a spirituality that was not only truly their own, but a redemptive force for a nation whose ancestors, for a nation whose original sin was found in their ancestors' enslavement across the Middle Passage. This documentary features interviews with Oprah Winfrey, John Legend, Jennifer Hudson, Cornel West, Pastor Shirley Caesar, Yolanda Adams, Reverend William Barber II, B.B. Winans, and many others. I invite you to take this opportunity through this series, through this film, to think about this force that today is still a very significant force. In 2008, when President Barack Obama was elected, that very same day, a church in Springfield, Massachusetts, here in the western part of the Commonwealth, went up in flames. This year, in fact, this past November, when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were elected President and Vice President of the United States, another church in Springfield again went up in flames. This sickness that attacks these sacred spaces begs a certain question. What are the alliances that we are a part of to help protect these sacred spaces and to allow it to continue to be this redemptive force in the lives of its many members and as well as in the life of this country itself? So please, let us take a look and enjoy and think about and have conversations about the Black church. This is our story. This is our song.
Thank you, Amilcar, for that wonderful introduction. Let's all remind you that the live conversation, we'd like everybody to come and join on, this is going to be Wednesday, February 17th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Stacey Holman, Shayla Harris, and Amilcar Shabazz. And you can find more information at our website, umass.edu/film/MMFF. Thank you. We'll see you there.
Get registered and join us there.